Struggling with Ielts Task 1? Let's conquer it together. Task 1 of the Ielts. Academic is all about describing visual information. You'll see a graph, chart, table, or diagram. Ielts Writing Task 1 graphs can be divided into two categories: static graphs and dynamic graphs. Static graphs represent data at a specific point in time or show data that does not change over time. They provide a snapshot of information which is constant, so you need not to describe trends such as increasing, decreasing, or constant. Focus on comparing categories, proportions, or quantities. An example of static graph can be a pie chart showing the distribution of different types of energy consumption in a country in one specific year. Nextly, dynamic graphs display data that changes over time. These graphs illustrate trends, growth, or changes in a certain variable or group of variables, so describe trends, fluctuations, and significant changes over time. Common type of dynamic graphs include a line graph showing the rise and fall of the global population over the last century. Understanding the difference helps you structure your response appropriately and highlight the key trends or comparisons effectively. Your goal is to describe, summarize, or explain visual data, for example, graphs, charts, tables, diagrams. The structure of your response should be clear, logical, and follow a consistent pattern to ensure you fully address the task. Here's the recommended structure. The introduction should paraphrase the question and explain what the visual data represents. Avoid copying the exact wording from the prompt, and instead, use your own words to describe the graph, table, chart, or diagram. Restate the information given in the task description. Mention the type of visual, bar chart, line graph, pie chart, etc. And briefly outline what data it represents, for example, trends, comparisons, percentages, etc. For example, the graph below shows the percentage of people using different modes of transport in 5 cities in 2020. The bar chart compares the proportion of individuals in 5 cities who used various modes of transport in the year 2020. Nextly, give overview. This section provides a general summary of the main trends, patterns, or differences you see in the data. The overview does not include specific data points, but should identify significant features or trends, for example, increases, decreases, highest, lowest values, etc. Focus on major changes or trends in the data, for example, a significant rise, a steady decline, differences between categories. You can briefly mention major contrasts between groups or data points. For example, City A saw the highest increase, while City B showed a decrease. For example, overall the most common mode of transport was car usage, while walking was the least popular. City A had the highest percentage of car users, whereas City D had the highest proportion of people walking. Nextly, body paragraph 1. In this paragraph, you'll describe specific details from the visual data. Focus on one main trend or feature at a time and provide data to support your observations. You can compare or group similar categories, for example, transport methods, for clarity, or provide relevant data from the visual representation to support your analysis, percentages, numbers, time periods. In 2020, 45% of people in City A used cars as their primary mode of transport, which was the highest proportion among the cities. In contrast, only 25% of residents in City B chose this option. Next is body paragraph 2. In this paragraph, you should describe another set of details, either elaborating on the remaining trends, features, or comparisons. This paragraph may include additional trends, such as the use of alternative transportation methods. Describe further trends. Describe trends for other modes of transport, like walking, cycling, or public transport. Provide specific data. As with the first paragraph, back up your observations with data from the visual representation. Public transport was the second most used mode, with 35% of people in City C opting for buses. Conversely, in City E, only 15% used public transport, with the majority of residents preferring to walk. So the structure of Ielts writing task 1 is first para of introduction. Paraphrase the task and describe what the visual data shows. Second para of overview. Summarize the main trends or features of the data. Third para BP1. Discuss specific details about one aspect of the data, using figures to support your points. Fourth para BP2. Discuss another aspect of the data, providing additional details and comparisons. Focus on the main trends and avoid irrelevant details. Make sure your paragraphs flow logically, with each focusing on one main point or comparison. By following this structure, you'll be able to write a clear, organized, and well-supported description of the visual data. Follow these steps, keep practicing,